Penning an op-ed in the Washington Post, Hugh Hewitt outlines how the tax code could be used to accomplish what the Republicans want in health care reform. Hewitt is the host of the Hugh Hewitt Show on the Salem Radio Network, and he joins us now. Welcome.
Hey, good to be with you, Kelly. I'm right in terms of the president getting it out of the House. I think it's almost certain to get out of the House because of a manager's amendment that Paul Ryan is putting together with the New York delegation and others today, and the president's going to go up to the Hill to close the deal tomorrow, it was just reported. But in the Senate, there is this very odd rule, reconciliation rule, that an amendment has to be germane to budget, to spending and taxes in order to change it. And that's where the Republicans have to get out of their box and get creative if they want this thing to get through the United States Senate.
And let's talk about that for a second, because, it's not often that you hear Republicans saying, hey, you got to do more taxes and tax penalties, but explain why you would take this approach in order to advance the bill along and what that would mean.
Because some of the conservative critiques of the bill is that it does not do enough to repeal the worst features of Obamacare, especially the leaden essential benefits rule, which layers on tens and tens of benefits onto state plans that raise the cost. Well, if you tax plans that go over a certain minimum essential benefit requirement, you will disincentivize state commissioners from allowing such plans. So a tax amendment can do that. They want tort reform as well in the United States Senate. And if you tax plans that come out of a state that does not have a cap on pain and suffering damages, you can incentivize states to do that. Yeah. Both of those amendments would get through the parliamentarian, I think, under what is known as the Byrd Rule. The Byrd Rule is the one that says to get a reconciliation amendment, which only requires 51 votes, it's got to be germane to taxing spending in the budget. And so they've got to use taxing disincentives to accomplish conservative repeal goals.
So let me ask you this, especially as it sounds like there might be a way to get this thing through the House. The question then becomes the Senate. But the larger question is something I thought Peggy Noonan put quite well over the weekend. And here's just a little piece of it. She said a fix, and she's talking about the fix to Obamacare, which, by the way, 7 years ago today was signed into law. She says a fix can't just spread the misery around in a new way, emphasizing why she thinks a bipartisan deal is necessary, saying it would be a boost to the national morale. It wouldn't be about constricting and cutting. It would feel expansive, constructive, even hopeful. Hugh, does she have a point? Are the Republicans replaying all of the Democrats' errors from a different point of view this time around?
She might have a point, but I deal with reality. Ted Cruz yesterday said the mythical third bucket is a sucker's bucket. Tom Cotton said on my show last week, Senator Cotton from Arkansas, there is no third bucket. There aren't 8 Democratic votes to vote for any kind of reconstructive 60-vote solution. So Republicans are caught in the same box that Democrats were caught in 8 years ago, a purely partisan fix to a bipartisan problem. I think they can get through most of what they want, and then Secretary Price has administrative authority, which is vast over at HHS. So I'm very optimistic that they'll get some stuff done, and Donald Trump's a closer. That's what developers do, is that they are permit-centered people. But I don't see Democrats coming across the aisle anytime soon. I do think Judge Gorsuch will get confirmed with some Democratic votes, but I don't see them helping the Republicans repeal Obamacare.
Hugh, some of these creative compromise solutions that you mentioned to get it through reconciliation, they might create a path to doing so and getting passes. But I wonder if in the Senate, politically for these members, it's actually a calculation weighing, trying to make good on a promise to do some kind of repeal and replace against the inevitable reports after the fact of people losing coverage, and whether you think that's a manageable or issue or not. So how does it get some of these members to that spot of being willing to vote for something?
It's political calculation, I think. Lindsey Graham on my program last week said, why not go with collapse and replace? I think collapse and replace wipes out the Republican majority in the House in 2018. If you run on one thing, and the president ran on 3 things, the wall, the repeal of Obamacare, and a cut in the corporate tax rate, he's got to get all 3 things. He's going to get the wall bill, he's going to get the corporate tax cut rate, but he's got to repeal Obamacare. If Republicans walk into 2018 without repealing the taxes of Obamacare, without driving down premiums, they're going to get slaughtered. And you know what? They'll deserve to get slaughtered. They made a promise. They should deliver on it. They can deliver on it.
Hugh, as we let you go, what do you think the odds are, as of right now, this thing gets through the Senate?
Very good. I think that Donald Trump is going to go in there and twist so many arms. Again, I go back to his developer. I've always thought he's apolitical. Developers are driven by their critical path people, CPPs. The critical path will go to the Senate. He will go up there. He's put Rand Paul in a box. That's 1 vote loss. Susan Collins is a 2nd vote loss, but he'll get the other 50 plus Mike Pence. I think they'll get something back to the House. I think they'll get something done.
All right, Hugh Hewitt, thank you for joining us this